Hey y'all, it's Farley with Writer's Edge Podcasts, and today let's have a conversation about dry needling. So you may be sitting there saying, okay, Farls, what is dry needling? I've never heard of it. What's going on here? So let's chat. Dry needling is a form of acupuncture. But before we go any further, let's get some terms correct here. Acupuncture actually means to puncture the skin. In the United States, we think of acupuncture as traditional Chinese medicine. Traditional Chinese medicine uses the theory of your body has energy channels called meridians. These meridians flow through and are connected to different organs. So you have the bladder meridian, you have the small intestine meridian, the lung meridian, and acupoints along these meridians that have been mapped out on the body, and we have them mapped out on both horses and people. These acupoints affect specific things, and people who are highly trained in acupuncture as it's thought of in traditional Chinese medicine or TCM, they know where all these acupoints are and the different combinations of them to work on different ailments. So they are affecting the flow of qi, which is the life force, the life energy that flows through the meridians that can often get blocked or stagnated at certain places. And throughout this theory of treatment, they use little thin acupuncture needles, and they go in pretty superficially. So they go in 5 to 10 millimeters, maybe more, depending upon what they feel and what's going on. Acupuncture can be used to help with a variety of ailments. I know for me personally, it helped me. I don't sweat properly. And you might be saying, well, Farley, that's a good thing. Like, that's nice. Why are you complaining? I'm not complaining, first off. However, there was a 4th of July. I was in Texas working horses and in humid East Texas. And my skin was dry as a bone. I was not sweating at all. My skin was getting very red, and for someone who has dealt with this all of her life, it can, if you get too hot or getting close to that, it is not good, and it can wreak havoc on your body. And the older I get, the longer it takes to recover from that. It's sad to say, but I refuse to get older. There's that too. But anyway, I digress. So, I saw an acupuncturist who was actually from China, and it helped me tremendously. And within 5 treatments, it was a noticeable difference. By then, it was August, very, very humid August. August and I don't have a good relationship. In northeastern Arkansas, and I was working at the barn, and the back of my shirt was wet, and I had never experienced that before. So acupuncture can help in a variety of different things, and it can be a very good supplement to Western medicine treatments. What we in the United States think of as going to the doctor, going to the hospital, going to the physical therapist, whatever, what have you. So, because they had asked me to go see my doctor and get hormones checked and different things. So, and it all came back within normal limits, which if you've ever really had a medical problem that's maybe a little bit of an outlier, that is an actual problem, but you've had lab results come back and they say, well, you're fine, you're within normal limits. You know, we have good ranges in Western medicine, but it may not be the normal limits for your body. So, something to keep in mind. Dry needling, on the other hand, is performed by a licensed medical professional, typically a physical therapist. I'm going to talk about it from that standpoint. There are other licensed professionals that perform dry needling, but it's typically in the physical therapy world. So the difference in theory, it looks the same to an outsider. The difference in theory is it's kind of a blend. We use Western medicine and Eastern medicine. We are puncturing the skin and disturbing the immune system, the neurological system, and stimulating them to come in and heal. So we're essentially also helping the body heal itself. Okay? So, interesting enough, a lot of the acupoints fall along where we dry needle. So that's why I say it's a blend. Now, dry needling typically goes a lot deeper than traditional Chinese medicine. They will often go through the anatomical available space. And what I mean by that is they'll go as deep as they can to get as much stimulation as possible. Now, there are a lot of different theories within dry needling, and people practice a little differently, but can get the same result. Because as we know in physical therapy, as we know in rehab, as we know with training horses or exercising or diet or what have you, that there's a lot of roads that can get us to the same point, right? In school, we often hear there's several different ways to skin a cat. I don't really know why that's the cliche that stuck, but here we are. So, and I'm not going to bore you with the different theories of dry needling. We're just going to educate you so you know how to use it. So, if you get dry needling from a physical therapist and you guys have talked through, your treatment plan and different things, they may also use electrical stimulation with the needles. And don't panic, don't freak on me. What really happens is we hook the e-stim up to the needles, and they kind of vibrate back and forth while they're in situ. And what that does, and what research has shown, is that heightens the amount of benefit that you're already getting from having dry needling done. So we have a lot of research, we have a lot of evidence behind that. In 2020, there are new CPT codes coming out for insurance to reimburse for that procedure. So there's been a lot of discussion and a lot of work over the past few years to get that to happen. And so that's a very good thing for patients. It is happening with CMS, who that is the institution that runs Medicare, and the way the insurance world works. When they kind of start something or do something, a lot of times the private insurances, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna, Cigna, those guys will follow suit. So it's a very good step forward for patients and their care and how they manage their care financially. So dry needling it's great because it works on the neuromusculoskeletal systems, which if you see a physical therapist, that is what we are highly trained in. That's our jam. It's what we do. It can help with decreasing muscle tension. It can help promote healing. We can use dry needling to affect scar tissue and change scar tissue, which can be a problem for some people who scar too well or develop too much of a scar. And so there's a lot of different avenues that dry needling can supplement and help enhance a treatment and help faster. Now, it's not as far as within physical therapy. There are other things that need to happen. It's not a standalone treatment in of that if we drop needles in you, you're just going to magically be better. No, we've got to follow that up with changing the movement patterns and strengthening or whatever might have you in your particular situation. So, if you're queasy about needles and you're sitting here and you've gotten this far, hanging out on this chat today, I'll be brutally honest. Some of those needles you don't feel at all, and some of them hurt. Like I'm always up front with my clients and tell people how it is. As a practitioner who's done this for a long time, sometimes I can tell which ones a patient might feel or more than others, but not every time. It's not an exact science. However, it's not anything, because these are thin, tiny little needles, which are more, if you've not ever been around acupuncture needles before, it's more like a straight pin and even smaller versus an injection needle. So if you're sitting there like, okay, you call it dry needling, ha ha ha, it's because we don't inject anything. There's no injectant. So actually, when you get an injection, that's called wet needling. You didn't think there was such thing. Yes. So when you get an injection, that's actually wet needling. So dry needling has a lot of evidence behind it. It is useful in both chronic and acute conditions. It can be useful in the horse world as well as acupuncture. And acupuncture in of the sense of traditional Chinese medicine. So, depending upon what your horse needs and how, what availability you have to different practitioners in your area, it can be a very good thing. So, dry needling, as far as the human side of things, clients can be sore afterwards. Typically, within the first 24 hours, they may be sore, but it's like a muscle sore, like you went to the gym and you worked out too hard. That kind of sore. It's not your original symptoms. It's not it's not that kind of pain. It's just kind of a muscle achy soreness. So, drinking plenty of fluids and moving around is really what helps combat that kind of achy soreness thing. So it is it's a very good evidence-based treatment that can help you whether you're having pain or you're needing to or having tightness or seeking out some important performance enhancement. You are working to get better on different things. Finding a practitioner that has that may be a very good adjunct to your goals. So I hope this helped. As always, it's very important to me to educate people on all the different treatments that are available to them. So, because the more you know, the more you can make better decisions for you and your horse's health and wellness. So, I hope you enjoyed our little chat today about needling. And if you didn't and you're still squirming around, come back next week. We'll chat about something that doesn't involve needles. So thank you for your time and attention today. And as always, I will see you down the road. Thank you for listening to the Writer's Edge podcast today. We appreciate your time and attention. Thank you for always helping us move the conversation forward. If you liked today's podcast, please help us keep the conversations going by subscribing to this podcast and consider leaving us a review so others can find us and join in on the conversations. You can also find more information by checking us out on our social media channels, including Facebook at Writer's Edge Therapy and Wellness, Instagram at Writer's Edge Therapy, and our website, www.writersedgetherapy.com. It is there that you can book a consult for either you or your horse. Thank you, and as always, we will see you down the road.